Hello, I wanted to do a really quickie. During meditation, I think I came to a little discovery about one of the female. So it's not complete. The thought process is not complete yet, but I wanted to get it out there really quick to help others. Because what if we can really quickly start unraveling all at the same time this same thing that a lot of us are having issue with: self-worth. So one of the threads of that is the generational, like, so and maybe I'm sure that other people have come across this concept, but I want to put it out there because it was like so simple that I think a lot of people just kind of skate over the thought of it. So it's generational. So for example, like, think about this. So say my mother, she would have been an empath like me. She would have been collecting information from around her and everything. And up until this moment in time, and I'm not exactly sure, I can't tell you the time or day or whatever. I don't know if it was a few years ago. I don't know if it was a shift that just happened recently. I mean, I really can't tell you when this releasing happened, but remember, we used to have this very heavy 4D energy that was like constantly battering us with negative intention and just trying to keep us smashed down. And so we've broken that, like, it's gone. And so now we're unraveling all of this. I mean, there's no more oppression necessarily. It's just that we're all holding on to this stuff, and it's coming out and releasing. But the ones that are holding on to it still keeps it here. You know what I mean? Like, if whatever the heavy feelings, thoughts, emotions, intentions, thought processes anchored here, they're still going to be very much real, because we're putting power and thought into it. But as we release, then we can free it completely from this plane of existence. So one of these things would be the self-worth, right? And so this 4D intention, this negative thing, used to be out there to try and sway us and constantly batter us. And so, like, for example, my mother, let's say, would have been picking up on that. She would have been picking up on that negative speak. The negative speak that isn't necessarily yours. Now, that isn't here anymore. Like, there isn't anything feeding that anymore. What's happening is that it's still anchored down here amongst all of us. And so everybody that negative speaks within themselves, they're still kicking it up into the atmosphere. And all of us who've always listened to the negative speak will continue to grab onto it and then create more. And so those of us who have broken free from that, we're cleaning it and we're fixing it and we're explaining it and teaching you all how to do it, right? Kind of that kind of a thing. And sometimes when we're having bad days, we dip down into that and we negative speak, and then we're throwing back into the collective our negative, right? Negative density, denser thoughts, heavier emotion. That's what I mean. So let's just say then, back then, let's even say go back to my grandmother, right? Say she negative spoke about herself. So say she looked in the mirror and she would look at herself and honestly was a very beautiful woman. But she'd look and she'd hear because she was picking up, she'd hear that negative 4D speech. And so then she grew up that way. Now all her children, whether they are sensitive or not, will hear negative speech because since she grew up in that way. So when she would look in the mirror and she would look at herself and actually see a beautiful thing, but then hear like, oh, look at that. Look at your face is doing this. Look at that pimple. Look at that blemish. Look at this. Ugh, 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 ugh. And she believed it. She didn't have this, Then she told her, then she spoke to her kids that way, as she would clean, as she would fix their hair. Maybe it wasn't perfect enough. Maybe this wasn't enough. Maybe that wasn't enough. There was always blemishes. There was always this. There was always that, right? That moves on down to, so then, like, say, if, let's just say for the sake, my mom would be the sensitive one, and maybe her two sisters and brothers were not, but all four of them learned negative speak. So my mom's was reinforced because she was sensitive as well, and she was hearing it as well from the universe. So then that carries now down to me and my brother. So now me, I'm negative speak, and I speak badly about myself and all this inner banter and da da da. It's not only, so when we released and I felt the release of that 4D, and then you didn't hear it anymore, like from the outer world coming in at you, there was still something there. Like, where is this still coming from? Well, it's generational. You have to literally go back and remember that, wait, my mom was programming this into herself. Her mom was programming this. So then you just need to start releasing all of those threads as well. And whoa, what a humongous release when you can get rid of that generational baggage of knowledge that this was a receptor in your family line who was bantered with negative speak, and then it was cemented within their programming, and then, like any type of a virus or anything like that, it spread down the lines through, ancestral, this is the way they did it, this is the way they did it, this is the way they did it, this is the way they did it. It was like a program. It's like a program. You learned this. So now we're at this end here, and we need to break it. So knowing that this has been released from us, this 4D, there's not really anything coming in anymore from any outside sources, any negative sources, right? This is all just stuff that we need to lift out of ourselves. I mean, think of all the people who are unawake and who negative speak all day long, don't even realize that their words are creating, and so therefore this density is just remains. That's why every day so many of us are just clearing and clearing and clearing and clearing, and it seems like a lot. It seems like it's coming, but it's just that the more sensitive people that elevate and open up, the more sensitive we become, and it just seems like a lot. So that was the message about the negative speak, about, because the whole female lineage thing. I was thinking about how beautiful my mother actually was, but yet how she always made herself seem like a toad. And then I turned around and I thought about it, and I'm like, you know what? I do the same thing. And I was trying to really piece through, how the heck can I get back to something I once was before? And then it was like, well, think about that. This is a learned thing as well. So now you need to release the fact that maybe you learned this. It's also a generational thing. So, but maybe that'll open something up in someone else. Maybe that will help you.